everybody, and welcome to the Golden Bronx Cheer Award, celebrating the worst in film that 2021 had to offer. Last time we talked about the best ones in the Premiere Awards, and now it's time to get to the worst. And while 2021 was a pretty big improvement over 2020, there was still no shortage of bad movies, and I knew it, and my subscribers knew it, my Instagram followers knew it, and I realized I did not put a link to my Instagram in the last one. I will in this one, so if you want to be part of the voting process for both these awards for next year, go ahead and follow my Instagram, link in the description. So let's not waste any time and get into it. I do have to bring something up, is that there are a few different awards than there was on the Premiere Awards. Premiere Awards had Best Makeup and Hairstyling, and what was the other one? And the other one that was, and that will not be here, and neither will Best Comic Book Film, so it won't be Worst Makeup or Costume and Makeup Design or Worst Comic Book Film, because the Worst Comic Book Film may show up next year, but there just weren't enough, and there are some that would have been in there by default. It would have just been default the bottom 5, so it wouldn't have been as, I probably could have done it, but I didn't. So instead, we'll be replacing those with Most Overrated Feature and Worst Editing, because bad editing needs to be called out more than it is. So, and some of these are, of course, going to be shuffled around from the other ones due to differing slots. So let's jump into Worst Remaker Sequel. And the nominees for this are Space Jam: A New Legacy, Matrix Resurrections, Halloween Kills, Home Sweet Home Alone, and Army of Thieves, since this also includes prequels as well, which I forgot to mention. And the winner for Worst Remake or Sequel of 2021 is Home Sweet Home Alone. I will admit, I wasn't expecting this one. It was bad, don't get me wrong. It was really, everybody knew it was bad. It was, and some, including myself, have determined this to be the worst of the franchise. But I am kind of surprised that Space Jam or Matrix did not win this one. Now, yeah, like I said, Home Sweet Home Alone, I get why it was, I get why it was nominated, but I am legitimately surprised that it won. But I'm not going to dispute it. It's a bad movie. We all know it's bad. So let's move on to the acting category, starting with Worst Lead Actor in a Motion Picture. And the nominees are LeBron James for Space Jam: A New Legacy, Ben Platt for Dear Evan Hansen, Louis Tan for Mortal Kombat, Jason Momoa for Sweet Girl, and Matthias Schweighöfer for Army of Thieves. If I've mispronounced that, I don't care. And the winner for Worst Lead Actor in a Motion Picture goes to Ben Platt as Evan Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen. Now, I know probably a lot of you are probably surprised that LeBron James did not win, but he won the real Razzie Award, so I think it's safe to say. And once again, these were based on what my followers and subscribers voted for, and they really didn't like Ben Platt. And to be fair, neither did I. So yeah, we all know it was a bad performance. He was nominated in a Razzie for a reason, but yeah, a close second ended up being LeBron James, so yeah. So let's move on to Worst Lead Actress, or at least as close to a lead actress as you can get. Like if it's an ensemble movie and even if the male character is the main lead, if there's one that's almost the lead, it'll count as well, and you'll see why in a second. Gal Gadot for Zack Snyder's Justice League, Isabella Merced for Sweet Girl, Taylor Russell for Escape Room Tournament of Champions, Ellie Kemper for Home Sweet Home Alone, and Camilla Cabello for Cinderella. And the winner for Worst Lead Actress goes to Gal Gadot as Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman, in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Well done, everybody, well done. Second place ended up going to Ellie Kemper for Home Sweet Home Alone, which is actually pretty surprising. And as you may have noticed, some of these aren't the lead, but they're close enough to the lead so to get a Worst Lead Actress one. Like Gal Gadot, Isabella Merced. Isabella Merced you could make an argument for because she ended up being the main lead. Or Ellie Kemper, along with Rob Delaney. And then with Justice League, you also had Ben Affleck, who probably would have been the lead, but she wasn't in enough of the movie to count. So let's move on to Worst Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture. And the nominees are Ray Fisher for Zack Snyder's Justice League, Michael Pena for Tom and Jerry, James Corden for Cinderella, Don Cheadle for Space Jam: A New Legacy, and Alec Baldwin for Boss Baby Family Business. And the winner for Worst Supporting Actor goes to James Corden as one of the mice from Cinderella. Well deserved. Corden is one of the most infamous actors on the planet. I know there are some people who like him for some reason. There are many people like me who think he's annoying and shouldn't have a career. I saw a comment somewhere that, I think it was a Letterboxd review of this movie that said that he's doing bad musicals like he's collecting Infinity Stones. Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention, my voice sounds a little weird. My sinuses are acting up, so that's why my voice might sound a little distorted. It's not the audio, it's just how my voice sounds today. So it can't be helped. And, of course, second place was Don Cheadle, was Ray Fisher. All of these I could see earning them. I felt bad for Michael Pena, but his performance in Tom and Jerry was pretty bad. And Baldwin, fuck Alec Baldwin, we all know that. And Fisher doesn't have a career, and he's still whining about Warner Brothers, so I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls a Colin Kaepernick, and even after trashing Warner Brothers for years, all of a sudden wants to come back. And they better not let him. I'm done. He doesn't need a career. So let's move on to Worst Supporting Actress. And the nominees are Daisy Ridley for Chaos Walking, Ella Purnell for Army of the Dead, Jessica Henwick for Matrix Resurrections, Amandla Stenberg for Dear Evan Hansen, and Jessica McNamee for Mortal Kombat. And the winner for Worst Supporting Actress goes to Jessica Henwick as Bugs in Matrix Resurrections. This one was a pretty close bout. Second place ended up being Daisy Ridley for Chaos Walking, for good reason. And all of these, and I'm not one of those guys that puts good acting performances in bad movies on it, like the Razzies are infamous for doing, especially back in 2017 when they had a lot of really questionable at best nominations, especially ones for like The Mummy and Mother. Even though the movies were bad, the performances were fine, but they still felt they were nominating them, but they had completely lost the point of it. Here, these were all bad performances, and everybody knew they were bad, so they went on the list. And yeah, and Ridley almost won this one. It was like a 51-49 scenario here, or it was maybe a little further. There weren't that many votes, but it was a pretty damn close bout. So let's move on to Worst Director. And the nominees are Zack Snyder for Zack Snyder's Justice League and Army of the Dead. That's right, he got a double tap for this one. Lana Wachowski for Matrix Resurrections, Daniel Farrands for American Boogie Woman, M. Night Shyamalan for Old, and Doug Liebman for Chaos Walking. And the winner for Worst Director 2021 goes to Zack Snyder for Justice League and Army of the Dead. Was this even a contest? Most people who are on my channel hate Zack Snyder as much as I do, because that's kind of what I'm infamous for, is shitting on his movies. But for good reason. This guy is a terrible director. Honestly, and all of these were... Doug Liebman somehow took second place. This was way closer than I would have liked. Doug Liebman came really close to winning this one. All these directors are kind of infamous in their own way. Daniel Farrands is known for making trashy horror films. The Wachowskis have made nothing but shit since the first Matrix movie. Liebman is barely known, but everybody hated Chaos Walking. And Shyamalan, it's M. Night Shyamalan, need I say more? But Snyder beats them all, and it's warranted. So let's move on to Worst Screenplay for a Motion Picture. And the nominees are Zack Snyder's Justice League, Army of the Dead, Matrix Resurrections, Space Jam: A New Legacy, and Chaos Walking. And the winner for Worst Screenplay of 2021 goes to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Again, was this even a contest? I'm working on part 2 of the trashing the Justice League movie, and part 2 is going to be about how it has one of the worst screenplays of all time. And it winning it here kind of cemented that decision. Will be coming out soon. Be on the lookout for it. But it's got one of the worst directors already, who had a lot of input on this movie. And it also has one of the worst writers in Hollywood in Chris Terrio. So it was really no contest. Like, none of these others, the other movies were bad, but they're even, and Army of the Dead took second. Big shock, right? Yeah. Oh. So, let's just move on to worst editing of the year. And this is a category that was really close, I'm not gonna lie. But the nominees are Zack Snyder's Justice League, Flashback, Outside the Wire, Halloween Kills, and Sweet Girl. And the winner for worst editing of the year goes to Flashback. Yeah, this is proof that this wasn't me being biased on all these and giving Justice League every win, because it's already lost 2 categories. And it came close, but Flashback, I think the people who voted for this one, I'm not even sure if all of them actually saw this movie, but they had to have seen my review to know how bad the editing was. I pointed out the one particular instance where it keeps jumping back between cuts like this, trying to connect what 2 people are saying in one. Well, it's the same person, but from 2 different time periods to try to connect them. But it's so disorienting and going so fast that you can't make out what they're saying. But yeah, all these movies had bad editing that deserved to get nominated, but Flashback was definitely the cut above the rest, or cut below the rest, I should say. So now we move on to worst visual effects. And again, much like the acting categories, this isn't one where I just pick a bad movie that had good CGI. I'm picking ones that had actual bad CGI. And the nominees are Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, Clifford the Big Red Dog, Mortal Kombat, Justice League, and Red Notice. And the winner for worst visual effects goes to Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. I'm a little surprised this probably isn't the one I would have gone with. I probably would have gone with Red Notice just because it had a $200 million budget, so there's no excuse for the bad effects. But yeah, the effects in this one were pretty bad. I pointed it out in my review, and it got nominated for a reason. It doesn't have that much of the way of visual effects, but the ones it has are pretty bad. And but again, I'm surprised this one won. I would have gone with either Red Notice or Clifford, but again, I have no qualms about these winners, so let's move on to worst animated feature of the year. And the nominees are Injustice, because obviously, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Spirit Untamed, Secret Magic Control Agency, and Rumble. And the winner for worst animated feature goes to, say it with me now, Injustice. This was one of my most rage-filled reviews of last year, and apparently everybody else hated it as much as I did. This was a slap in the face to the video games and the comics, and it was trashed by even DC fans to boot. And they came out in droves because everybody, I don't think there was a single vote for one of these others. I think 100% of the votes went to Injustice, and for good reason. These other movies were bad. I didn't see Rumble. I tried to watch it, but I stopped after 5 minutes. I'm like, I'll watch it later, and then I never got back around to it. I may finish it at some point, but yeah. So everybody knew this movie was bad, and it was got the rightfully win. I do have to point out Secret Magic Control Agency, still one of my most viewed reviews of all time. That is astonishing. That is the one that has the second most. I think the most is the Dune review. But then there's ones like that and the Hyperions, which get a ton of views for some reason. I'm getting off topic. Maybe it's just because less people review them, and that like the lesser known movies that I review, my reviews come up faster, or like they come up more than other videos. Like when they look at review, mine will show up more than it would on the big releases, so maybe that's the reason. So let's move on to most overrated feature. And the nominees are Zack Snyder's Justice League, Encanto, The Suicide Squad, Dune, and Godzilla vs. Kong. And the winner is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Because again, the people who subscribe to this channel, I don't think anybody who subscribed to this channel actually liked that movie. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be subscribed since like half my videos are shitting on Snyder movies. But again, it's warranted. Second place in this one went to Godzilla vs. Kong for good reason. And these other ones, like, mostly they was just ones that, the nominees were mostly just ones I couldn't understand why so many people just loved. And apparently a lot of other people didn't like these either, but Encanto didn't get a single vote, but that's the power of Disney, I guess. So let's move on to the big one. Worst Picture of 2021. Much like the Premiere Awards, this had 10 nominations, and there was no shortage of bad movies on here. And the nominees are Zack Snyder's Justice League, Space Jam: A New Legacy, Matrix Resurrections, American Boogie Woman, Army of the Dead, Tom and Jerry, Sweet Girl, Chaos Walking, Red Notice, and Dear Evan Hansen. And the winner for Worst Motion Picture of 2021 goes to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Well done, all of you, for voting for this piece of crap. Well done. I am proud of you. Second place went to Army of the Dead. I am proud of you. Third place went to Sweet Girl. No, it's a bad movie. It got nominated for a reason. But that one got third? And as you can imagine, the last place, the one that got 0 votes, was Tom and Jerry. Or I guess you could probably imagine. But, off topic. There's a reason why I've been hating on this movie so much, why I'm making so many videos destroying this movie, or I'm working on so many videos destroying this film, why it's my least favorite movie of all time. Because it's such an insult to the comics and the other great DC films, like the Burton Batman movie, or the first 2 Dark Knight films, or the Christopher Reeve Superman. The first 2, anyway. It's such a slap in the face to those movies and the comics and the novels, the video games, the TV shows, what have you. This is worse than all of them. I'd rather watch Batwoman. I'm serious, because I don't have any attachment to Batwoman. I couldn't give a rat's ass about that character. I like these characters, but Snyder has no idea how to make them work. He's gone from DC. The Flash movies erasing the Snyder movies, and thank God. Well, that's all we've got for the Golden Bronx Cheer Awards for 2021. I'm looking forward to 2022. I already did the joke where I list off a bunch of good upcoming movies, and I look to the side and see a bad one pop up. I already did that joke in the top 10 worst of the year, so I'm not going to do it here. But yeah, we've already got a few good ones, some really surprising ones, and some very disappointing ones. But that just comes with cinema, I guess. So, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for voting and making another year of cinema a little less painful, I guess. So, that's all I've got for this, and next time we will be going back to our regularly scheduled bullshit. So, I'll see y'all then.